Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück hier in unserem sogenannten Budi-Büro auf der Gamescom in unserer kleinen Außenstelle, wo wir auch den ganzen Tag oder die ganzen Messetage Gäste empfangen werden. Jetzt zwei Kollegen hier von Rare, die über ein Spiel sprechen, das für PC und Windows 10 erscheinen wird, nämlich Sea of Thieves. Wir machen das Ganze auf Englisch, aber das wird so einfach sein, dass ihr das sicherlich auch alle verstehen werdet. Guys, would you like to introduce yourself and what you're doing at Rare?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Joe Neate and I'm the executive producer of Sea of Thieves.
And I'm Ted Timmens, and I'm the PC lead designer for Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us a short introduction for the people not knowing the game already? What is Sea of Thieves?
Cool. So Sea of Thieves is what we call a shared world adventure game, and the acronym for that is a SWAG, which we're particularly happy with the pirate game. But really, it's about going on these cool shared adventures, as a crew with your mates in this world where you're going to encounter other crews and other players, and that's the kind of magic of our game. Is that whenever you're out there sailing, going on a treasure quest, or just exploring, or just sailing out and getting drunk and getting with your grog and your musical instruments or whatever. Whenever you see that set of sails on the horizon, whether that's over in the distance or maybe you pull up to an island and you get out and climb to the peak of the island, and suddenly on the other side you see in the bay there's another ship with people getting off. You're always going to know that's other players, and you're not kind of sure what they're going to want. Like, where are they going? What are they doing? Are they hostile or not? And it's those kind of encounters you're going to have with other players is what makes our game so unique and so special. That throughout you're going to be out there on your own adventure, but then your paths are always going to cross with other players, and just unexpected and interesting things are going to happen. And we're super excited to kind of get that into players' hands and see kind of what they do and how they behave when they encounter other players, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of game in a nutshell, right?
Okay, so when you say that people are wondering what other ships are doing out there, what is kind of like the motivation for players to sail out, and what is the actual goal beyond going out and just destroying the other guy's ships?
Sure, yeah. So you have to, with a game like this, you have to meet a wide range of motivations, right? So you're right, there's some people are just going to want to go out and sink other people's ships, right? And that's cool, that's great. Some people are going to want those specific goals. They're going to want to know that they've got a treasure map or they've got a quest of some kind that they're going out and they're going to try and complete it. They're going to get a guaranteed kind of reward at the end, and then they're going to be able to spend that on maybe upgrading their ship or upgrading their character or anything like that as their character kind of progresses. But some people are just going to want the social side. They just want to actually go out there and just mess around with friends. Like, some people treat multiplayer games like that, right? Which is, instead of going to the pub, they just want to go on a Friday night and settle down and stick their headset on and just have a really fun social experience. And some players will just want to explore the world, kind of discover the lore, really kind of get into that side of it. And I think we have to meet all of those motivations with this experience. And what we're showing at Gamescom, like on the show floor, is just a slice of the game. And it's really just that core cooperative kind of sailing a ship together, adventuring, encountering other ships, and having that kind of ship battle stuff that you talked about, with some of the fun items like drinking and instruments, which are, but like those we put in because although they don't have any kind of mechanical value, they do have emotional value, which is that when if we all get drunk together and fall off the ship and it all goes chaotically or whatever, like, it's fun and we laugh and it actually bonds players together. And it's the same with the kind of musical instruments, right? It really bonds strangers together, and that's really important for a game like this. If you're going to be playing with strangers, you want to bond, you want to get that kind of crew bond. But so one of the trailers we showed at E3 itself, so there were two, and one was like the gameplay trailer with the player reactions and stuff, but the other one we showed was this kind of frozen moments in time cinematic trailer. And what that is, that's kind of showing our vision for the future of Sea of Thieves, of how our game is going to evolve. And if you go and look through that, you'll be able to see people kind of fighting with sword combat. There's a shipwreck that people are diving down to. There's sharks circling it. There's mermaids, sunken treasure. There's a kraken in there. There's skeletons on the islands. And it's like, that's how we're going to be growing and evolving that, because that we want this rich, fantastical world for players to explore and get lost in and go on these kind of quests and seeking out goals and seeking out kind of progression. And ultimately, we want players to kind of become the legends of our game. So rather than having Blackbeard in the game, right, or the Black Pearl, from Pirates of the Caribbean, we want what players do in our game, the stories they tell, the adventures they go on, the quests they undertake and everything, to lead players to become kind of, almost the most famous players in our community, and from the videos they share or the streams they do or the posts they make, and we want those to kind of become, and we'll celebrate them, right? We'll look at how we can promote their videos, or like maybe rename taverns in the game after player exploits, right? Because there's a game like this that will be constantly operating, constantly updating, we can do that kind of stuff, right? If you've got a bunch of pubs in the game, right, then why not rename some of them after awesome players and awesome things that have happened? We can so easily do that, but we want to celebrate players, because what they're going to do is going to be just really interesting with the kind of tools and the game that we give them, right?
So is there even a set structure to the game? Say like there's quest A, quest B, and then the game is done? Or is it like a constantly evolving online experience that's always changing?
Constantly evolving, definitely. Like, we'll always be looking at introducing new ways to play, new things to do, new quests to undertake. There won't just be you play it for 60 hours, you get everything done, you're gone. We always want to constantly give players reasons to return, right? So, yeah.
Okay. Recently, Microsoft introduced the whole Xbox Play Anywhere thing, so it will also be on PC. Will there be like any major differences for the PC version, and will PC and Xbox players be able to play cooperatively online?
Yes, we've actually bought the 4K version of the game with us. It's down in behind closed doors. It's really nice to see the game at that kind of fidelity, everything cranked up to the maximum of 60 frames a second. But at the same time, the team back home are working really, really hard at the moment, particularly engineers, on trying to lower the sort of the entry spec, the minimum spec, where we can enable as many players as possible to play our game. So that's 720p, 30 frames a second, which the game still looks amazing just because of the stylized art that you'll have seen in our trailers. And to actually open it up to that bigger audience where they can then decide which sliders they want to change. Do they want to increase the FOV? Do they want to unlock the frame rate? Just to build that experience, like Joe talked about already, that when we build this game, it's not just necessarily about the content, it's also about the feature set. And when it comes to the PC, of course, that can be huge, of the number of sliders and settings and resolutions and monitors and hardware. So at the moment, we're kind of putting everything in place just to make sure that when we get to our closed beta, that we have the right components that in the right places, and we've made the right decisions to say, let's say, for example, that one of our players has an issue with a particular graphics card, that we can grab that graphics card, put it into our config testing labs, run the testing on it, reproduce their issue, and turn around a fix very, very quickly, and to be communicative to the community, because they're going to be telling us any particular issues, or hopefully it'll be largely feedback driven, and all of the things we've put in place. But the PC is such a complicated thing that we're preparing for every scenario we can, and then we'll work with the community on fixing anything that comes up.
Yeah. Is it worth talking about the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff as
well?
Yeah,
good point. Yeah, so Xbox Play Anywhere is something that certainly at E3 I was very excited about, just because my gaming habits have been shifting recently, where I kind of game when I can. There's so many things fighting for my attention that it's like I get home, I jump on my Xbox One, I'll play a game for a bit, and then maybe someone else wants to watch something on TV, so I'll jump on the PC and continue where I left off. So when you break down Xbox Play Anywhere, the first thing is cross-buy. So if you buy the game digitally on the Windows Store or on the Xbox One store, you just immediately own it on laptops, PCs, and Xbox One. So you just have it across the board. Secondly, you've got Xbox Play Anywhere, which is the cross-save, where you can just say, I've been playing on my Xbox One, I'm going to jump on my PC, and your save game is already there, just because it's in the cloud. All of our updates will be aligned, so if you play the game on your PC and then you jump to your Xbox, you have exactly the same content, exactly the same feature set. And finally, as an ambition, we do want to support cross-play, but it's going to require real testing, fine-tuning, balancing. We're lucky that some great decisions have been made by the design team early on. It's not a Twitch-based shooter. It's very much if you play the game on a keyboard and mouse, or you play the game on a controller, it doesn't really affect like lowering the sails, raising the sails too much. The way that the guns work, they're not like semi-automatic rifles. They're like pistols and cutlasses and things like that. So we feel that we've got the right building blocks in place, but at the moment it remains just an ambition. We want to
we've got to prove it's the right thing for our experience, right?
We love the idea of a bigger matchmaking pool of players.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, and bringing those players together, right? Having people like you say on PC that can play with Xbox players and stuff. Yeah. It just the more people that can play together, the greater the game, right? But you're right, we have to prove it. We have to prove it's the right thing for our experience, and then if it is, that's when we'll deliver it, right? But yeah, like it's very much an aspiration.
Yeah, and we can have some fun with it as well. We can, if there's like a slight balancing in difference, then we can have things like the PC gamers have a different set of sales or a unique set of sales, and the Xbox players have their own set of sales. And you can imagine seeing, like you're playing on your Xbox and you see a set of PC players on the horizon, and does that change the way that
you're
want
going to approach them?
Right. It's very rare.
It's have a bit of fun with that kind of that kind of friendly rivalry that players have and stuff. And
so I think we often do.
Platforms.
We
don't
often
want to run away from that.
Yeah, totally. So we often talk about PC gaming and console gaming as though they're vastly different, but actually there's many similarities.
For sure. So we've got some fun ideas around that. Just got to prove that it's the right thing for our experience.
And then if that's true,
then we'll make it work.
I had the chance to play the game yesterday on the Xbox Showcase event. I think it was like 5-on-5 teams. Is there kind of like a set limit to how many people can fit on one ship and make sense to work together in a team, or is there some point where you just don't have any more jobs to do on a ship?
Yeah, so we've tested quite a few, and actually probably the right amount of people for that ship size is 4 for the ship size that we've got on the show floor. The reason we had 5 for this is because we actually have like a rare guide in each crew who's just there to kind of help and like answer questions, and if you need sort of help learning things, then fine, they're there to kind of to curate that experience really. But generally, like 4 people means that you've got a mix of things to do. There's always roles for people. It's someone's on the wheel, someone's in the crow's nest, someone's on the cannon, someone's doing the sails, someone's repairing you, and you're all running around between those.
And somebody's just only drinking.
Yeah, someone's only drinking, right? Yeah,
usually Joe.
Yeah, it's usually me. 3 sheets neat. That's my partner. I've completely lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. It's because he's drinking again.
Yeah.
I mean, we had that great example earlier, right, where 4 people were repairing at once.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah. So, you easily find it. Yeah, when your ship's taking on loads of water, everyone's going, "Oh, we're taking on water. Can we repair? Get downstairs." And everyone fixes everything up, and then they're like, "Right, like where are we going?" And then you look round, and you're like, "No one's steering."
And then crash.
Crash into a rock or into an island or something. So, but. We found that if you increase the amount of players, not only does it get a bit kind of clustered and everything on the ship, you lose that kind of personal connection to players. And so the more there are, like maybe they start splintering into different groups or everything. So we're purposely keeping it small so we keep that personal connection. So players really bond as a crew, work together as a crew and everything else. But the ship size we've shown so far, like we plan to have different ship sizes, including much smaller ones. And so, if a player wants to come in and maybe play on their own in our shared world, then they totally can. And it's a really cool, different experience where your ship's maybe a bit more maneuverable, but it's also a little bit more vulnerable. And so maybe like when I play like that, I tend to kind of navigate through the world, keeping an eye out for sails, and if I see them, maybe I'll hide behind an island because I'm small enough to do so, and then I can wait till they've kind of gone out of sight, and then I can carry on. Yeah. And it's really different experience, but still cool, and it still takes into like what's special of the shared world, right? And so that's something we've prototyped. Yeah. We feel really good about it, but our first deliverable in the closed beta Ted talked about, that's where we want to go with that big ship that we've shown. It's about the core cooperative shared experience, and then as we move forward and evolve this game, that's when we'll start bringing in like different ship sizes, different ways to play on top of that core experience. We've got loads of different things to pick from that we've prototyped, and so it's just a question of which one comes first, right?
Okay, probably guys, let's conclude this interview. We've got some new footage that you've brought, like some new B-roll footage. We just let this run.
I think what this shows is just the breadth of kind of the variety of the experience, all the different things that can happen with the kind of, even with the existing kind of feature set itself, and just the variety of activities. So very tactile. The water's flooding here; it's underwater. We're very proud of our water as well, aren't we? Like that, we've spent a ton of time on the technology for the water itself, because like in a game like this, there's 2 things you're going to be looking at a lot. Right? There's water and there's sky. So we've spent a lot of time on our cloud technology and our water technology
and our drink technology.
And our drinking technology.
Because you're going to be spending a lot of time drinking,
exactly.
Right?
I made sure we prioritised that at the very top. Personal highlight of mine.
I just love the way that everything feels. Like when you lower the sails and you see the wind grabbing
it.
The wind
billows into it and pushes it forward.
It's a really positive feeling.
It's tactile feedback, isn't it? It's great. And I think what this shows as well is like if you think you should be able to kind of do it, you can, right? Like, can I ram them and jump on board them? Yeah, of course you can, right? Can I just jump off into the water seamlessly and get onto this island and run around? Yeah, of course you can. It's like, it's all seamless. It's all a world that you can just go exploring in, jump off, splash, and
cliff diving.
like. You know, like a lot of us, like we've tried many times, kind of sailing that ship underneath that archway and then trying to jump into the crow's nest and land in it, right? Just because it's something. Right, let's try and see.
There's going to be a lot of videos shared, right,
of people doing crazy things like that.
Yeah, that we haven't even maybe necessarily tried ourselves yet, and they find out new things.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's just, you know, watching it back. It's, I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and it makes you think, we've got something good.
Here. The ingredients for something really good.
All right, thanks guys for coming. Best of luck with the game.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much, sir. Cheers.